First name, last name is a palindrome. So I'd like to bring to the stage Bruno Ziza from AtScale. Bruno? Great job.
Thanks, John. 97, 82, 72, 5, and 1. Now, John, thanks for the great introduction. I know a lot of vendors come up to stage here to talk to you about their great products and their great services. But in the next 5 minutes, I want to talk about you and the future of data. And these 5 numbers are about where we're at today with the Hadoop market and where we're going to go. Now, 3 years ago, when we launched AtScale, the market wasn't too hot on this idea that you could put business users and run interactive applications, analytics applications, in front of Hadoop. In fact, about a month before we launched the company, Gartner announced that the majority of companies had not talked to them about doing anything interactive on big data and Hadoop. Do you guys remember that? You don't remember? You know what? I'm going to give you some incentives to interact with me here. So when I ping you, I want to hear some noise. So what I'm going to start doing is, when I ask you a question, I'm going to reward you with a T-shirt. Do you guys remember that moment where Gartner said that no companies were actually using Hadoop? All right, that's your first T-shirt. So, of course, that was really a disconnect with what we felt. We launched the company to essentially revolutionize BI on big data, and here we are, a large research firm telling us there's no market. So I picked up the phone. Actually, the first person I called was John, and I called all my friends in the Hadoop market, and together we launched the world's first and largest Hadoop maturity survey. 3,000 people answered that survey, and what we found out actually was quite surprising. The first thing we found out is that a large portion of you, actually 70% of companies, were already using Hadoop and big data, and they've been doing it for a year. 97% of the respondents told us that they were going to do more with Hadoop and big data over the next 3 months. And 75% of respondents told us that BI ahead of ETL and data science was the first workload they wanted to deploy on that platform. The industry had matured to a point that some of the research folks and the analysts actually hadn't picked up on it. Now, to give the industry some credit, the first time we started talking about Hadoop, we really talked about it as a replacement strategy. This idea that we could replace the EDW market with this new data platform. And when we looked again at the research data, we actually found that that was not true. Of course, there are stories of companies like this one, a large insurance company that has deployed Hadoop and has cut the cost of the infrastructure by 10x, and using AtScale has also improved the agility and the performance of their application by 35x. But as we work with large organizations across really all industries in our business, what we found is actually a few trends going on in this space. The first one is the majority of you that are doing big data are doing it in concert with the other platforms. 82% of you are actually not replacing. You're augmenting and doing something that's called optimization. What does that mean? Well, that means that your world today is going to become more complex. Your needs are complex already. You have 10, 100, thousands of business users interacting with applications like Excel and Tableau, and maybe custom analytical applications you've built yourself. And while in the past you might have interacted those with Teradata and Netezza and SQL Server and those, you've over time augmented that with Hadoop, on-premise, in the cloud. In the future, you're moving out to maybe non-Hadoop in the cloud as well. But you're not replacing. What is happening is you're having a very complex environment at the top of the stack with business users, a complex environment at the bottom of the stack, and you're trying to put humans in front of big data, and it's more and more complex. That is the reason why we created AtScale. And in fact, since that Gartner report, AtScale has grown 10x since we did that. So do you think that's pretty cool? Do you think we've got an opportunity? Yes. All right. One more T-shirt. Did I hear you guys over there? All right. Nice hit. All right. We know the cloud is disrupting. In fact, the last version of our survey said that 72% of you are moving to the cloud. This thing is really real. It's not a hype. It's not a buzzword. Your environment is becoming more diverse and more complex. Here's the question, though. As the presenter earlier was talking about data capital, there's a lot of great taglines about data being the new oil. Do you guys know that we actually consume about 100% of the oil that we produce on a daily basis? Well, the reality with data is a little different. When we ask our respondents if they had self-service access to Hadoop, 53% of them say they still suffered from it. You're working, you're doing all that work to put the data in a great place, you're cleaning it, you're making it ready to query, and more than half your users are actually not getting access to it. If you look at the data from The Economist just a month ago, they told us that 5% of the data that we capture actually makes it to the end of the business decision makers, the people that need to make decisions with it. And even worse, remember the 100% oil consumption? How much of the data that we produce do we actually capture? 1%. So, do we think that we have a great opportunity connecting humans to big data? We have a huge one. We have 99% of the data that we produce that has never made it. And so, I'm going to give you this last t-shirt here. I'm going to throw it that way, so I want to hear some noise. But what I want to make sure you do coming out of this session, go to our at-scale booth. It's booth 102. I don't think I can make it to you, sir. Go to @scale.com. I'm going to try. Go to @scale.com. And more importantly, if you want to benchmark yourself against your peers, go and take the survey at @scale.com/survey. Thank you very much for your attention, and let's try for this. All right. You guys have a good one.
All right, Bruno.
Thanks.
Got quite the arm on you there. Hope nobody